event last year. Ended up being in the shop for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And, I mean, they paid for everything. You know, it didn't cost me a penny, except the aggravation. But, well, I guess that's life in the South Jersey, where traffic is murder. Paul, hello and goodbye. Ernie, nice to make your acquaintance. Brett, I will talk to you later. N2DTS for his final, and the group WA3JVJ.
Yeah, nice to hear you on there, Bruce. Yeah, well, you know, now with the supply chain issues and stuff, like the people at the repair shops, I mean, some lady, my wife was not in the car, she was shopping, and some lady, like, thought it was in reverse and was in drive and, like smashed into it, shoved it over a curb, you know, really tore up the back bumper and exhaust pipes. And the people saying, you know, getting parts from Honda, Toyota, and some of the other manufacturers are, you know, he's looking at in the middle of December or later. So you're talking about being out, you know, of a car 2 or 3, 4 months. And then, of course, if you go to sell it or trade it in, they say, oh, this car is in an accident. We're going to give you $3,000 or $4,000 less. And, you know, you don't recover that. We found that out last time. A snowplow had backed into one of our cars, and you know, we had it fixed, and was a minor damage, but they used that as an excuse to offer us almost nothing. So I sold it privately for way, way more than what they were going to give us. So, and it's good to hear that you're getting the Nuvo on the air there, Paul. Pretty cool little rig. I wish somebody would make like a 20-watt version with some improvements. You know, apparently it could be pretty easy if you knew what you were doing with solid-state devices like that to make a pretty good AM rig. You know, like a QRP DIY with a built-in receiver kind of thing, you know? But, I mean, how many people are going to want something like that anymore? And it's dwindling, and people are having fun with broadcast transmitters. Anyway, we got to run. Nice talking to you, gentlemen, and I'm sure as the season progresses, much more radio will be going on. Although fall and winter is great for riding in the woods. The bugs go away, and you know, it gets cold. You can wear a jacket and bundle up and be comfortable. And but it's a lot more activity in the winter for me. So 73, gentlemen, over to Ernie, and always a pleasure. Glad you jumped in there, Paul. KD2BRM, if you're still there, and the group, N2DTS, listening out.
Alright, N2DTS, along with WA3VJB, and not sure if Bruce is still there, WA3JVJ. Lots of J's and V's, lots of VJs. Or for JJs, or no, that didn't come across right there. No disrespect to anyone. But yeah, great to run into you, Brett. And Bruce and Paul. This is, yeah, Paul, if you haven't figured it out already, this is Ernie from the AM Facebook group there, with the Jack Skellington picture there. So nice to find out. I think we might have spoke before. Your call sounds familiar, and I have to look probably back in my scratch pad there. But you sound great there, coming in from Maryland. So I'm going to send it over to Paul, and then you can tie the ribbons on it and say goodbye to Brett there if you're not crushing me now as I'm speaking in the first place. So over to you, Paul. WA3VJB from KD2BRM.
Yeah, I figured it out right away, Ernie. KD2BRM on the Anon 100, the vintage SDR transceiver. I think that was one of our previous QSOs. With Brett having signed and Bruce having signed, yeah. I didn't intend to get back on. I'm supposed to be doing things around the house, but could not resist. And Brett, yes, I wholeheartedly agree, if you're still listening, that there is a prospect for just a slightly higher power transceiver of the Nouveau. It could be like the Nouveau Grande or something like that, you know? And I think it would have a lot more practical value to people without really adding too much complication to its construction. So maybe we can get the Foursquare group to amend the design one of these days. They've sold quite a few of them. And I was pleased to hear that. When I did a summary, I was actually in touch with their people, and they've sold more than 100 of them in the 10 years that they've been around. I hope I'm not confusing that with how many Super Seniors have been sold, because I also asked Bruce DYY how many of them have been out there over the years. He's a lot more circumspect about numbers, production numbers. So I bet you the number of over 100 is correctly associated with how many of the Nouveaux are out there in the past time. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's it. Bruce, I concur that the vertical, or was that Brett who tested the vertical? Ernie had said that one of you guys testing your vertical was down about 5-10 dB, and that was the same here in Maryland. But Joe in Georgia might appreciate it very well, as Ernie points out, and Brett for that matter. And yeah, I'll be back on here later. I'm off this coming week, taking a little bit of vacation time. So I plan to spend some of it daytime here on the big 40-meter, 7290, maybe down low, 7160, that we've been trying to repopulate, as well as on 75 in the early afternoons, or 80 meters, if it's 37 1/4 down in that neighborhood. Catch your shots later on. Ernie, I'm going to give it to you because I think you're the one holding the bag at this point. I'll look for you again. And KD2BRM, British radio maker. That's how I'll remember your suffix there. From WA3VJB. Nice to hear you.
WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra.
All right, Tom, stand by 1 second. Heard you in there. I don't know if you want to get in there with Paul. Stand by 1 sec, Tom. Yeah, no, yeah, well, that's good, Paul. Yeah, because I make my boat anchor a non-reference here on the air and on Facebook. Yeah, but great to run it. I know your voice is familiar. I've either listened to you and not spoke to you, or I have you way back in the log of maybe 75 meters or something a while ago there. But yeah, station sounds great, and I'm always goofing around here on AM or Facebook. It don't matter. I'm the same person in real life or on the radio or on the internet. So yeah, all good stuff. Sounded really good. Great signal. And yeah, I think Tom was at WB9. Oh man, I should know your call sign there. I know you're in Virginia, even though you're a 9 sign. But Tom was in there. Tom Williams, another good addition to the group. So I'm going to pass it over to him. 73, Paul, and yeah, I'll try to. I work midnight, so I'm on in the air here. So I'll try to catch you more on 40 meters this week if you're around. But great running into you. I'm going to send it over to Tom. WB9 or something like that. Over to you, Tom.
Yeah, Roger. KD2BRM with WA3VJB, WB9DZS. I'll say hello to Paul. I wanted to say hello to Paul too before he left. I was up here earlier, and I think I heard Tim talking with Craig. And I did a little bit of slow scan. I wasn't feeling real well today. I went back downstairs, and I just was looking at the NASCAR race, and I turned on my the web SDR downstairs, and I heard you up here talking with Brett. So I thought I would crawl back on upstairs and just take a chance to say hello, and I caught you both on at the same time. So we'll turn it over. I know Paul wants to sign there. I'll turn it over to him if he's still there. WA3VJB from Whiskey Baker 9 Delta Zulu Sierra. Tom in Chesterfield, Virginia. Go ahead.
Yeah, very good, Tom. This is the first time we've worked in a long time, it seems like. WB9DZS. And the group from WA3VJB. Good signal from the Richmond, Virginia area. At least that's how I think of Chesterfield. Down there, tobacco country. Next in line to Winston-Salem and Durham and all down North Carolina way. Yeah, good signal. Yeah, I'm kind of headed for the door, but certainly wanted to get a handshake with you there as you got on the air with us. Thanks for that. I was on a couple hours ago now. Worked a station in Ohio. N8JZS is another Tom. And he was doing very well on a homebrew MOSFET transmitter. And he was listening to the K3FEF SDR receiver. I think he was hearing me there better than at home on a Harris RF901. What he called the embassy receiver, which is true. Between Watkins Johnson and Raycal, and then Harris was the third of, I guess, the big three for diplomatic service receivers. And it was kind of neat to connect with him for a while. But yeah, I do have some chores I'm trying to get done here. If Pam comes out here, we're all going to be in trouble. I'll tell you that much. So, Tom, let me kick it back to you, and then if Ernie had anything else, then y'all could talk there for a while, too. Good to hear you on. And like I said, I'll be on in the next number of days here, Tom, if you got a chance to get on the radio with us. WB9DZS and the group WA3VJB, thanks for firing up.
Yeah, Roger, Paul. Great signal. You and Ernie are doing the same. You're both about 10 dB over 9. And yeah, I do more listening. I get to where I can't hardly talk anymore. So just mostly play with slow scan when I get upstairs. But I do listen on AM quite a bit. And of course, it's always good to talk to you guys on Facebook as well. I thought I heard a 4 underneath there. It might have been a sideband station when you were talking, Paul. So, Ernie, I'll turn it back to you, and maybe if there was a station in there, he could. I hope you guys aren't hearing that. I got it's on my headset. Headset has gone bonkers here. I recording it, so I put on my headset so I could hear my own audio. Back to you, Ernie. KD2BRM, WB9 Delta, Zulu Sierra. Go ahead.
Okay, Tom, WB9DZS, KD2BRM. Yeah, I did hear someone in there as well. I don't know if they was zero beating against the AM carrier there. Sometimes the POTA, you know, the Parks on the Air guys kind of just join in without really checking if the frequency's in use. I'm not sure if that was the case or whatever. But everyone sounded good. Got a good copy on everyone here. Sometimes I'm like dead. Sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes Long Island is like the dead center from Timtron down to where you are, Tom, and vice versa, and then out to, you know, out Western PA, like RHR and TPW and FAU and those guys, the big stations out there in Western PA. Obviously, there's nothing east of me unless there's a maritime mobile, you know, 200 yards or 200 miles, rather, you know, off the coast, shark fishing or something in the canyon. Yeah, but great to run into Paul. Yeah, Paul, we joke around on Facebook all the time, so now we've confirmed a chit-chat, even though we might have chit-chatted before, but great to run into you. And if you're around this week, yeah, I'll be on the air, so listen for my obnoxious voice. But great to run into you there, WA3VJB. And I think Bruce signed JVJ. I keep saying that. I should know that already. And I know Brett signed into DTS. Brett always puts out a killer signal here, too. So, Paul, I'll pass back to you. I don't know if you're still in there. If you're not, then pick it up, Tom. If Paul don't pick it up, you take it away. And there's probably other people in there, so we'll see where it goes. I'm going to send it to Paul.
Yeah, there was somebody calling CQ up on 95 that I think you might have heard. And it's been kind of congested up and down the band. I was on 7275 for a while because there was some, I don't know, park bathroom special event station on 80 or somewhere in there. So I went to 75, and the bow wake kind of cleared a couple of places for elbow room and had a nice chat. That's just the way it is, like we've discussed over on the page. And it's conditions are good, you know. So yeah, look for you in coming days, gentlemen, and we'll see you later on, Ernie. It's kind of neat. It's kind of a seamless transition between our writings on the AM Facebook page and our chatting here on the radio. I have to say it's more satisfying to hear your voice than it is just a printed word. So that's cool that we've connected. KD2BRM and Tom, why don't you wrap the ribbons on it in that case? I spend a lot of time signing out, so this will be it. WA3VJB, either one of you.
Okay, that's real good, Paul. Yeah, it's a strong AM station fired up on 95. I moved my filter in, and it totally took them out. I don't see them there now because I'm transmitting. It's a good reason why to see their signal. And both of you sound great. You both have just superior audio. Ernie keeps stating how old his SDR is. I think mine's older than his. I'm not sure. If his is 8 years old, I'm sure. I think the Flex 5000 came out more than 8 years ago. I have to go back and look. I haven't had mine that long. Mine showed up as a present, unexpected, unannounced present from a ham friend in Phoenix. Opened up the door one day and saw a Flex box on my doorstep, and was quite surprised. I got scared at first because I had just been looking at one a few days earlier on eBay, and I thought I might have butt ordered it, which isn't that hard to do. I did that one other time. I had to contact the guy and tell him I was just scanning through. It was something I wasn't even interested in, and accidentally ordered it. You know, my finger went spastic or something. So I thought I had done that. And couldn't figure it out, so I was calling around, and the guy's one of my best friends, so I called him, and he just started to laugh. He had talked to some guy in Miami and thought I was missing out on the SDR craze, so he had sent it. I had a ICOM, or still have a ICOM 9100. And I was just starting to get on AM. I wasn't real pleased with the 9100. Isn't like some of the newer radios, like the 7300 or 70 or whatever. They all sound fairly good on AM, but not the 9100. So once I got on, that was it. I hardly use my. Occasionally, I'll use my 9100 sometimes, just to keep the capacitors warm and stuff. So anyhow, sure nice hearing you there and catching you both on at the same time's a treat. And of course, we had talked to the Brett had left, and we've talked to him many times before as well. And the other station, JVJ, I'm not sure I had worked him. He was coming in here good. You're all 5.9 plus. So I won't hold it. My voice gets stressed early, easily. So I might. After I sign out, I might listen on 20 meters on 14230 slow scan again. It's really nice to be able to operate without talking. So back to you, Ernie. 73 guys, and thanks for letting me join you. KD2BRM with WA3VJB, WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra, Chesterfield, Virginia. Be clear and listening out.
KB2RSK. Alright, stand by. Was that Jim? KB2RSK? Stand by 1 sec. If you want to make contact to the other stations, I'll make it quick there. Very good running into you, Tom. You know, Tom, it's funny, right? On the AM Facebook group, I have goofed around with Philip and a bunch of people many times, and I've never actually spoke to Philip on the air, but I was down at his place for the field day shenanigans that he had going on. But Paul and I have had many words, and you and I have had many words, in good ways, I mean, on Facebook, on the group. But it's always great to actually speak to people. because you put the character on the internet with the voice and the, you know, the humor and all that kind of jazz. But I will say, Tom, you and Philip like almost speak exactly the same. You guys could be like brothers in like, you know, in reality, man. I listen to your voice, and I remember being down at Phillips in June, and you guys just have the same, like, I don't know, the same accent, you know, southern accent, and whatever. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult, but you remind me so much of Philip after meeting him in person. So listening to you guys and your, you know, your wording and your accent. So I'm just throwing that out there. I hope it's taken in the lightest of context, because I mean it that way. But there was another break-in station. I think that was Jim in like central New York, KB2RSK. I'll say 73 to you, Tom, 73 to you, Paul. I think you guys are taking a bit of a break, but if you're not, hang in there, because I'm going to pass it up to Jim, and then you guys can kick it back after that. So if you're still in there, Jim, KB2RSK, KD2BRM. Over to you, Jim.
And K1ETP.
Oh, and Rich, K1ETP. Okay, we got you.
Hang around too long, Ernie. I got a church assignment to do here around 5 o'clock, so I wanted to ask you if you could send me the link to that Facebook group in an email so I can set that up. But I'm running at 12.3 volts on the battery backup, so I don't have too much time here. I was up on 10 meters playing AM up on 10 meters. I actually had a couple stations come back to me up there. All right, KD2BRM, take it over. You got my message, and thank you. 73, KB2RSK.
Okay, Jim. Yeah, I'll try and do that. If you remember on, you know, if you're like whatever, if you're on Facebook, I've never tried to do that before, but I will. I can either try to look you up there and send you the link, or I can try to email you the link. But yeah, or worst case scenario, it's called AM. I think it's I'm one of the moderators of the group. I think it's AM Modulation Classic, and that's the group that myself and Philip moderate. There's another one I think called Amplitude Modulation Group, but it's Amplitude Modulation Classic is the one that I moderate with Philip down KA4KOE down in Georgia. And I'll try to send you the link, but if you join, or if you try to join, just make sure you answer the questions, because sometimes if another moderator grabs it before you do, they'll just decline you. But I'll keep a lookout for you, and I'll try to send it to you. But great to run into you again, Jim. And then I'm going to send it over to Rich, K1ETP. So if you're signing, Jim, great to run into you. If you're not, hang out there. I'm going to pass it up to Rich, K1ETP in the group, KD2BRM.
Yeah, okay, Ernie. KB2BRM, K1ETP. I just came down to the shack here, and it's like I never left. Same guys are on that were on yesterday, so you got a real nice signal from Long Island, Ernie. I think the band is pretty short, but I was hearing the guy in Virginia quite well too. I'm not on the G76 today. I'm on my my TS 890, so there's a difference of about 60 years between the two radios. But I'm on my Lazy Man's radio today because I just came down here to check out the bands. I mixed a rum and coke. Thought I'd come down here and drink it and see what was going on, and there you were. So I thought I'd say hi. And Jim, good deal on 10 meters AM. I love 10 AM. I have a monobander on 10 meters, and I've been waiting for some AM to show up. I've worked a little from time to time, but during the last couple of 3 sunspot cycles, I was on several times a week working Europeans in the morning and West Coast in the afternoon. So hopefully it's all going to start again this fall. That's what I'm getting some good 10 meter. guys all the time. It doesn't seem to be any more than those 5 or 6 guys that I talk to all the time. So got to get more people up there. I know there's plenty of AMers, but a half a dozen, I don't know. We got to do better than that. So if you're still there, Jim, why don't you pick it up? If not, Ernie, back to you. KB2RSK in the group, K1ETP.
And 2LJO.
Acknowledge, George. Stand by. All right, I think Jim might have signed. George, you want to pick it up? N2LJO. You got KD2BRM with K1ETP, and I think everyone else signed unless there are the infamous sandbaggers. So over to George, N2LJO, KD2BRM.
Yeah, okay, Ernie, very good. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Rich Aroni. Good to hear some nice activity here and some pretty good conditions, actually. Good to hear you guys. Went to a little Hamfest in Connecticut this morning, and I think the rain scared away half the people that probably would have been there. So the turnout wasn't so great, but I have a few things that I wanted to get rid of, and saw some good people. Some of us went out to lunch. So it was a good time. It was a good time. And then I just checked now on the Yankee game, which was delayed by rain, and they're leading Tampa Bay 10-1 in the second inning. So far it's a good day. Over to you, Rich, I guess. Good to hear you. I'm on the yellowy 7610 right now, also the Lazy Man's radio.
Yeah, okay, George, very good. There's somebody tuning up on 95. N2LJO in the group K1ETP. I figured you were on your 7610. It just doesn't have the robust audio of your other rigs, especially your Ranger. I like your Ranger the best of all, George. That thing just, you got that thing tuned in perfect. And okay in the Hamfest. You know, there was a time when I would go to any Hamfest, far and wide, that I could drive to that day. And large and small, far and wide, I'd go to everything, always looking for that little nugget, you know, that nugget bargain. I always found that the smaller Hamfests had the better bargains than the big Hamfests. And the small Hamfests, you would find older guys. Now I'm that age, but you would find the older guys that didn't want to go to the big Hamfests, and usually they were their club. Their club was sponsoring the flea market, not Hamfest, flea market, and usually you get some pretty good deals. Well, now I'm in the getting rid of stuff category. I'm not looking for stuff anymore. I mean, I would really have to be attracted to something. I always wanted one of those, but I've owned just about everything. It's come down the pike in the last 60 years. I was in my 30s and 40s and even 50s. I was buying everything, you know. And I'd have 3 and 4 of everything. You know, I'd have like 3 DX60s and, you know, 3 HQ110s and so. And I just decided, you know, about 8 years ago, I just started getting stuff. So I'm not going to the Hamfests anymore because I've got, the flea markets anymore because I've got, there's nothing I'm looking for and I don't want to be tempted. And, you know, I do Near Fest twice a year, and that's when I usually just sit at my table and sell stuff. Although I did go to the ARRL one in Marlboro a couple of weeks ago, only because it's a 15-minute ride from here, so they had a pretty good flea market there, but the rest of the festa was kind of a waste of time. But then again, I kept my hands in my pockets. I did buy one thing. I bought a battery holder for my MFJ SWR checker. Somehow I broke the battery holder inside one of them. I have a couple of those. So there you go. Yeah, a watched the Red Sox for a couple of innings. Playing Baltimore today, George, and they were winning 1-0. But they're so far out of it, I've given up on them. Now go ahead, Ernie, KD2BRM on the group, K1ETT.
W2JBL. All right, we got Chris in there as well. W2JBL. Stand by 1 second. I'll pass it over to you. We have a growing crowd in a good way. Okay, Rich, yeah, copy on that. Yeah, I'm not a big sports fan. I was talking to people earlier about that, and there was some Philly fans and some other fans there, and I kind of clarified my uninterest in sports these days. But everybody's got good signals, and I'll make it quick because I think the most active stations now, I think I could check off in my book. I think we have K1ETP, we have N2LJO, we have W2JBL, and I think myself, unless there's other people sandbagging. So stand by, George. I'm going to send it up to Chris. I say up. I always say up. I don't know what the hell up is. Could be west, east, north, south, whatever. But I'm sending over W2JBL, KD2BRM, 7290.
Yeah, up would be correct. I'm just about due north of you. Yeah, good evening, Ernie. Man, big signals in here. I like it. And a nice group. Jeez. What more can you ask for? I'm going to be on here for a few minutes anyway. I got to get something to eat. And I'm enjoying my sport, which is NASCAR racing today, and there's a race on right now. I can't throw a ball, can't catch a ball, never interested in those kinds of sports. I can do two things. I can drive a race car, and I can shoot really well. So that's that. I'm running a Johnson Viking 2, which I really should put more time on this transmitter. This is one of my favorite rigs, with the 122 VFO. And an antenna I haven't used since I put it up, basically. It's a 40-meter dipole at about 20 feet. George, you've seen it. It's hanging between the house and the garage, very low, and it's fed with 100 feet of black number 14 ladder line. Cheap ladder, well, not so cheap ladder line. And you guys are rocking it on that antenna. I go to the 160 dipole, and you're gone. So hopefully you're hearing me the same as I'm hearing you. George, are you going? Hi to Rich. And George, are you coming to the Beacon Ham Fest on the 18th? I hope to see you there. N2LJO in the group, W2JBL.
W2JBL in the group, N2LJO. I'm not sure about that one, to be honest. If I've got work obligations, then I won't be, but if I don't, I will be. So that's yet to be determined. Good to hear you on the air. And yeah, I've seen that antenna. The band is in good shape. And, well, growing up, as far as sports with me, I went to Catholic school, and, you know, there were these guys, these Irish guys who were 6 foot tall in the 5th grade, and they all played basketball. I wasn't tall enough for that. I wasn't into that. My father, may he rest in peace, never talked about anything but baseball. So growing up in Brooklyn, if we weren't actually like at the parade grounds, which was, it still is, right next to Prospect Park, and back then it had like 12 or 13 baseball diamonds. Now I think most of it now are soccer fields because the neighborhood changed. But if we weren't at the parade grounds playing actual hardball, we were on the block playing punch ball or stick ball, or a couple of summers they used to have these big foam white balls that looked like baseballs, but they were foam. And we used to play with Little League baseball bats with those and gloves. And that's all I did. And I could throw a ball very well, and I could catch very well, and it's the only sport I've ever followed. So it is my only sports love. And Rich, thank you for the compliments on the Ranger. Yeah, I like the way it sounds too. And I haven't messed with it since I messed with it a couple years ago. And that came from Nearfest, from Jerry, K1GUP. It wasn't working. I think I gave him $85 for it. And it needed a lot of work. And I've got a laundry list of things I did to it. And I'm very happy with it, very happy with it. As far as the Hamfest, yeah, I agree with you. I think the smaller ones definitely, you find better deals at the smaller ones. And I'm like you, at one time I would go to almost every Hamfest, and that stopped a few years back, and I'm kind of in get rid of stuff mode myself, so I hear what you're saying. So let me see. Ernie gave it, I guess it goes back to Rich. Yeah, I guess your Red Sox are kind of out of it. My guys don't have the lead that they had a couple months ago, but I always had a feeling playing 750 ball or whatever it was, they were over their heads a little bit. So I still think they're in good shape. K1 ETP in the group, and 2 LJO.
Yeah. All right, George, N2 LJO in the group, K1 ETP. Well, I won't burden the other guys with sports talk here. I know you and I sort of get carried away sometimes. But I just want to say I'm not a big sports fanatic. I like baseball. I've always played baseball as a kid, and just always liked it. When I grew up right next door. I mean, the property right next door to us was the town Little League field. So I was over there every single night and most days during the summer. The Little League field playing baseball, or at least watching a game or something. So it was there. I couldn't get away with it. So sort of fell in love with baseball, and I've been going to Fenway Park since I was I don't know, maybe in the 9th grade. But and then I was also a huge football fan starting in college. But the big but is I got a little pissed off when these teams became woke. I didn't watch the Red Sox for 2 years, not a single game, because I was so kicked off about how woke they've become. And the NFL is still woke. I'm just not going to watch football. They're still over-the-top woke. And I flicked through the channel today, and I stopped just for maybe 3 or 4 minutes to look at the football game the Patriots are playing in Miami, and I noticed they have a female now. So, yep, they are woke. So that's all I'll talk about as far as sports go. And Chris, the 2 sounds good here. I think you're still up at the outer Rondikes, as you call it, up at your camp there. Where you got a good signal, and I think 2 sounds good. Maybe you're home, I don't know. Not sure. Kind of a crappy day here. It's humid and it's drizzling. And I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow, so it's a good ham radio day, I guess. But I have been not on the air. I've been upstairs, just going around on the computer and watching TV. But there's nothing on TV. It's either well, I did see there was a NASCAR race on, but I'm just not into NASCAR. And everything else is the Queen, the Queen Elizabeth ordeal over there across the pond. So not much to watch, unless you want to put a Netflix movie on or something like that. I'm just not in the mood for that in the afternoon. I'd rather come down here and listen on the radio than watch a movie during the day. I watch a movie at night. But that's that. So anyway, Ernie, back over to you. You're doing a great job there as net control. KD2BRM and the group, K1ETP.
All right, K1ETP I left a little space there for others. But then again, others with strapping signals will just strap me, and they might be calling in over me. But very good. Yeah, awesome. Chris, you are, well, not were, I guess were and are. I guess it's both appropriate. You are and were my 16th contact today on 7290. The last couple of days, it's been like 8, 12, 16, 12, 10. Very good band conditions. So I'll keep it short because the band is playing really good. Rich, you're like 20 to 25 over here. George, same thing, man. On the rice-a-roni box there, or your whatever, your rice wine vinegar box, whatever you're running over there, it's you guys, everybody right now in close proximity is doing really, really well. So I'll keep it short. I'll send it over to Chris, W2JBL, but everyone's sounding great. And oh wait, before I do, make a quick comment on what Rich said about the work stuff. Yeah, you know, I always felt like this. I'm like, you know what? I got to go to work tomorrow. My job doesn't care what I think, and they don't support me or not support me. I go to work, and my responsibility is to take care of what the job requires. And where the NFL went wrong was, and all the other sports, or any of the other sports, let me refresh that. What they should have said was, listen, you have First Amendment rights, but not when you work for us. So we don't really care what you're into in your private life. Keep that out of sports. But the NFL and a lot of the other sports, they shied away from that because I guess they felt that it was a money thing. But, you know, I have First Amendment rights, but when I go to work, my boss, my job doesn't care what I think politically. My job is to do what I do, and if I want to go outside and protest, then take the day off. Like, keep it out of the workplace there. So, I'm with you, Rich, 100%. Still like sports. Turned off a little bit by the stuff going on, but it's pure entertainment. Couldn't care less if the Yankees lose the World Series, because I got to go to work the next day. I'm not shaking hands with some other fool across the lawn that's making $17 million pretending like, oh yeah, sorry, you know, I lost the World Series. Like, those guys don't care. So anyway, I've said enough. Over to you, W2JBL, KD2BRM.
3VID. Get the call sign. Yeah. KD2BRM in the group, W2JBL. Yeah, I'm home. Rich and George and company. I came down yesterday. And I'm on the Viking 2 at 100 watts. And that's about the story. Not too much to add here. I have been listening, Ernie. Yesterday, the last 3 days upstate, I was listening quite a bit. And experimenting with different antenna combinations, and I had a lot of stuff that I had to fix in the ham shack. I had equipment problems that I had to repair, so I didn't get on. But I was listening all afternoon to you guys, and yeah, God, that one QSO you had, I think, started at about 3 o'clock and ran right through into 6:30. You guys are still on there. People coming and going. It's amazing. I love this band. I'm going to start operating Mobile here. Oddly enough, my hot rod, my street machine, is the most RF quiet car I have. My Chevy Caprice is very RF quiet. So I've got a 100-watt mobile station in that, and I'm going to start using it again. Now that the band is good, as I travel around, I take that car out on weekends, and I go to flea markets and garage sales and stuff. And it's nice to be able to chat on 40 meters from the mobile. It's a great band to operate, Mobile. And George, okay, we'll see you or see you not next weekend. I'm not going to be selling there. I'm selling elsewhere, but looking forward to it. Just get out, see you at Hamfest, you know. That's actually closer to my house where they moved it to. It's a couple of miles closer to here, not that it really matters. And Rich, I'm in getting rid of equipment mode too. I've been looking around at stuff I bought up over the last 4 or 5 years that I was going to do this or that with, and stuff I bought on eBay or at flea markets or whatever. And I realized, you know, that thing's been sitting there for a year. I haven't done anything with it, so it's gone. It's going. It's getting sold off. I can use the money. So what the hell. Hey, I'll see you guys later. There is a NASCAR race on, which I know is not for everybody. Watching guys drive around in circles for 3 hours is definitely not for everybody. But NASCAR went, whoa, what was it, last year? The year before, one African-American driver claimed he saw a noose in his garage, and it's the noose that was not a noose. And Then he had a Black Lives Matter themed car, and he's actually a good driver. He's a nice guy. But Richard Petty, who was his boss, fired him. But he got a job elsewhere. Anyway, the KA3 station that was breaking in, why don't you pick it up, and I guess it goes to George N2LJR. So the KA3, whose call I didn't get, go ahead. 73's guys will catch you hopefully a little bit later. W2JBL.
Yeah, Chris, just to break in real quick, I plan to go to Beacon next weekend, so hopefully run into you.
Wow. Jesus, on what frequency? I'm the big, fat, smelly, ugly one, you know? Big, fat, smelly ham. No. I look forward to seeing him. Man, that's a drive. Jesus, that's going to be 2 hours from Long Island. It's about 5 minutes from here.
Yeah, not too bad. It's off of 84. It'd be about an hour and probably 20 minutes, but I plan to run into Rob, WOR, and a couple of the other guys there. So, yeah, but looking forward to running into you. I've been up to that one a couple of times. I ran into Lou from Connecticut there, the amplifier guy. Lou, N1 something or other. But yeah, looking forward. I'll look for you, Chris. I'll keep a lookout for you.
Yep. I'm glad to hear Rob is going. Yeah, I'd spread the word. Last time I was at Beacon and we were all there, it was Mike K3FEF, Phil W2PHL, George, Clark N1BCG, Rob WOR, and I think one or two other, Dave Schneider was there. There might have been others, but it was a big AM group. We had in fact, this is a group photo of it. Yeah, catch you later. Have a good one. W2JBL.
All right, I think I was there. I just didn't know any of you guys. So now I know a bunch of you. So look out.
Hey, Chris, Rob Schneider was, Dave Schneider was at Marlboro when we were talking to him. You know, he lost his wife.
Oh, I didn't know that. I hadn't told. I saw him at a local ham fest in the spring.
I don't know what happened to her, but he lost her. So anyway, I just want to comment on. I meant to make this comment last time. I know it's not my turn, but I also like shooting. That's one thing I really enjoy doing. I like shooting handguns, and I'm a life member of my rod and gun club here in town. I'm there all the time. Well, not all the time, but often. And I've got a nephew who's a competitive tactical course handgun shooter. He is really good, and I know it because he showed me videos of him out on the tactical course competing. So just wanted to pass that along. Anyways, K1ETP.
Yep, that's impressive watching that stuff. Now I'm going to grab something to eat and watch the race. See you later, W2JBL. Well, I'm turning it off this time. Catch you later.
Is it my turn?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Good, Will.
Good evening, gentlemen. Close enough to not say that. Excuse me. Wow. I have a question. And I may have posed it before, but since it seems like a larger group, it might get varying answers. But I'm going to ask it anyway, just because. Now, the rig I'm running right now is an Icon IC736, okay? And I'm using an MFJ 949 Delta Versatuner, which works fine. But when I put my doublet up, I get my doublet constructed and up in the air, I want to use what I have also is a Johnson Matchbox, a smaller version. You got the 275 watt version, and you got the large one, which you can use, legal limit with it. The only thing it does not have is the directional coupler. I was told that I could still use it, I just have to put an SWR meter in between the rig and the tuner. And I just won't be able to use the meter. It's on the on the tuner itself, the antenna itself. So I don't see that being a big deal. I just want to know if it's not going to hurt the matchbox in any way if I don't use the directional coupler. This is what I'm kind of getting at there. So I'm going to throw that to the group and see what kind of an answer I can get there. And Ernie, I'm not sure who it goes to because K1ATP jumped at, and the guy that was after him, I didn't get his call or his name. Like I said, I kind of jumped in here a little bit later. So I'm going to pay